and materials and maintenance costs, and you also have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, it'll kill you or it just won't work. So the moment someone comes out with a free energy device, which I do believe are absolutely real, just very few people have been able to actually do it. Just don't be one of those inventors that tries to patent that. Just use it for yourself, maybe show your neighbors and your friends and whatnot. And cool, you got it. But, and I'm still working on it myself. But as soon as you try to do that and make it available to the rest of the world, that's going to be, well, a situation where you might get suicided. And there's evidence
dangerous
behind
enterprise.
it. Yeah. So figure it out. If you guys need help with the things I've been doing, I will show you. I haven't fully figured it out myself. But then you also have to be careful about the entire situation because electricity kills people every single day.
Yo, hey guys, real cool conversation again today. Energy storage is like the thing, in the whole global economy right now. Everyone's trying to figure out. I mean, like, we can produce so much electricity, and we have such little storage capacity. But I'm always thinking whenever we're all talking about how to store up heat, are people looking enough into how to store cold? Because, like, think of all the things that you need cooling for as well. And much like how we've been talking about, like, free heat, from the sun that you could focus into sand with a parabolic mirror. If you, like, lay out a material at night, it can cool down if it's got, a line of sight to the sky. That's how, like, ancient people in the desert, in, like, Mesopotamia used to make ice in the desert at night. Like, they just have, like, really thin pools of water, and it would freeze at night, even if the air temperature was above freezing. And they'd scrape it up and put it in a hut and store it up. So something I've been thinking about a lot is like what would be a material that would be a really efficient cold battery? It seems like it still requires some work because you have to like lay it out, with a lot of surface area at night and then scoop it all up in the morning. But feels like, I don't know, that could be a bit of a sleeper in the whole energy storage equation here. It's like you got your heat storage, but you also need your cold storage as well. I mean, just like AC takes up so much electricity.
Well, I have to go back to work, but in about 5 or 6 hours, I'll be home again. If you guys want to talk about this in more detail, I'd be happy to show you the diagrams and mathematics and schematics behind it, and I'll show you why.
That'd be amazing. Thank you, Andrew, and all the best.
Yeah. So I gotta get going. But cheers all. Talk to you guys later.
And yeah, thanks for sharing, ZZPop. I like the name.
Yeah.
ZZPop.
Yeah, it's an homage to ZZPop, I guess. But yeah, well, we're trying to crack the heat storage thing, Let's get some people working on the other side of it as well. The cold storage problem.
Yeah. I was thinking about that one day years ago. You notice how when the body gets cold, it automatically starts to vibrate to generate heat?
Mm.
I wonder if there's some sort of technology that can mimic that and then store it, yeah.
The ancient Iranians got you covered.
Oh. Thank you.
Yeah, Google how the ancient Iranians stored ice. You'll blow your mind.
Wow. Thank you.
There's a company I saw that's put out a technology. It looks like solar panels, but there's no electricity involved. They're just like really reflective panels. They're so reflective of sunlight that they don't heat up in the sun, and they actually cool down. Like, they're not only just not getting heated up by the sun, they will, if they've got a line of sight between them and the sky, they will just radiate out heat up into the atmosphere and into space, and can be used as a form of even sort of like daytime passive cooling. I mean, only by like a few degrees, but it's enough to chill water. Obviously, the effects of sky cooling can be much more intense at night.
Things like maybe even the alligators and the birds, all those
interesting. ZZPop, are you a globe defender, if you don't mind me asking? Or are you researching one of the flat Earth models?
I'm pro concave Earth.
Wow. Interesting.
No, can't call myself a flat Earth proponent, to put it diplomatic, or just generally intrigued by the types of conversations going on here after I sort of found my way in through different YouTube and Discord, channels, more so than like wanting to come out shots firing for anything. Like this type of stuff that I tuned in on. About energy storage all the time. It's the big missing link in the energy puzzle right now. Like whoever cracks it, I mean, we've been talking about the local scale, which is also really cool, but whoever cracks industrial energy storage, billionaire.
I take it you've looked into the history of Tesla and in the not so distant past.
I mean, not Tesla, the car company, but the Tesla, the scientist.
Yeah,
Or
Nikola.
Tesla. Yeah, it was just because Tesla's also got their battery projects. Yeah. Oh, and I saw something on carbon as just like graphite carbon as a pretty good heat storage as an alternative to sand. I mean, it might be more expensive. I'm not sure. Just as a last thought on that. But yeah. Sorry. What about Tesla, the scientist?
Yeah. I was just wondering, have you looked into his history, if you don't mind me asking?
A little bit. I mean, what specifically about him?
Oh no, just perhaps you or maybe read or learned about him in the past, and maybe his thoughts on electricity. From my understanding, I think he wanted to give electricity to mankind.
Yeah,
for free, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Post Edison, the cutthroat capitalist Edison was. I don't know a ton about like the biography of Tesla's life, and other than the the AC/DC power debate, and obviously the invention of the Tesla coil, and his concept of doing mass wireless transmission of power. I know like the general bullet points, but I've never looked into it much more than that.
It's good, yeah. I think he was a genius for sure, and I know he did a lot of visualization in his mind, and I know, if I'm not mistaken, he was also instrumental in designing the alternator at Niagara Falls, and I remember going through his, a lot of people didn't think it was going to work, but incredible technology.
Yeah, I mean, there's pictures of like Tesla coils he set up that like we still don't know how to make ones that can create such large arcs of electricity. I forget exactly what it is, but he pulled some things off that we don't have the present notes on today. So I know it's just the mystique, the mystery of it all definitely surrounds him, keeps people coming back, wondering what his hidden inventions were. Stolen from the world.
Yeah. Supposedly, if I'm not mistaken, I know this was I learned this in a PBS documentary. They were saying that when he was aging and living in a hotel, supposedly Einstein helped contribute to his accommodations, but supposedly when he passed away, he may have been in he may have had a lot of his notes on hand still, and supposedly the US intelligence would have gone in there and collected everything, so sure they were going through everything they had.
Didn't he claim something like he found the resonant frequency of the Earth and he could crack the Earth in half? I mean, he made some. I don't know like what's like the legend, versus what are the actual things he said. But I also know he made some pretty extraordinary claims, and I did hear that part of like the FBI stole the last of his notes. Yeah.
So that must have been interesting to go through. But you're right, he did have some interesting ideas. I think he also claimed that he intercepted maybe transmissions from Mars, if I'm not mistaken. So as a flat earther, I think that would have been wrong.
Yeah, I mean, do you believe in Mars as a flat earther?
I do believe it as a wandering wandering star. I did look into it a little bit. I mean, there was the Mars landing. I forgot what team, or what, I think it was the second one. I watched the press conference, and I was just really disappointed. They asked Adam, he was the team project lead, and one female reporter asked him, Adam, can you tell us about this file type for this historic first image from Mars? And he had no clue what file format it was. As a project manager, I just thought that was completely odd, because I don't know, I've been a part of organizations where project leads would be like familiar with almost every aspect. But yeah, and then there was other questions. The whole press conference was just, it looked unreal. I actually made a video about it. It's on my channel. I have a YouTube channel, and that particular video is about the Freudian slips. So I've compiled some what I believe were Freudian slips from former astronauts and whatnot. Just so you know, though, I do forgive everyone that's involved. Presuming Earth is flat and the biblical flat, then I forgive everyone involved, and I'm up for 100% amnesty.
If you had to kind of ground your belief system in something, I've been really curious about this as like how big biblical belief is in this. I mean, and I know that there's flat earthers who claim that has absolutely nothing to do, with their belief system. It does seem like it's a non-trivial number of people, though, have that somewhere within their axioms. So I don't know if that was a perfectly well-formed question, but I guess curious, like, how do you weigh the different influences and how you got to be where you are between, science debate videos online versus, belief in the Bible? Where, like, did the religiosity come first and then the flat Earth stuff, or was it the other way around?
Yeah, it was actually the other way around. I was born and raised Roman Catholic, thinking I was actually a somewhat decent Christian, but it was Ray Comfort who took me through the Ten Commandments as an adult, and I realized, wow, I wasn't even close to being a Christian. So I was reborn, and that was a different spiritual journey, but I think I was a flat earther before that. So what got me into looking into where we're living a little bit closer was there was a documentary back in 2015 on Netflix called "The Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon." It was produced by Bart Sibrel, and essentially it just outlined, I think, at least 7, 8 salient points on how and why it was staged. And so I went to my friends. I was like, "Hey guys, I don't think we went to the moon." And I was a huge NASA fan. I mean, I would watch their channel. I would learn about their budget. I was a huge fan. I've been to Florida, so Cape Canaveral. So I went to my friends, and one of them actually said, "Hey, I don't even think the Earth goes around the sun." And like instantly, I thought he was insane. I kind of wanted to take a step back from him, but then I went on to find out there were some experiments called that they presented in the documentary called "The Principle," where they were looking at the cosmic background radiation, and it actually appears that Earth is at the center of the so-called universe, and
Are you
then
talking
that
about
kind of led me
the axis of evil,
the axis
as
of
they call,
evil. Yes,
as they call
yeah,
it?
yeah. So it then learned me. Then it directed me into the flat Earth. So then I discovered there's 3 different models. You got the infinite plane, right? So on an infinite plane, potentially the horizon would continue to rise at eye level continually. And then you got the flat Earth society, which is the Earth moving upwards to count. And then you've got the biblical.
Mhm.
So I think the realm we live in matches the biblical the most, in my opinion. So I'm kind of just exploring that. And so I had a YouTube channel. I just compiled a lot of evidence because I would try to direct people to, hey, what do you think about this? And then they'd look, it wasn't there. So I had to basically just, well, I had some friends tell me to do a channel. So I did that. And then I just started making a playlist. So I could just say, just come to my channel, check out this playlist, and then we can chat. But you did have a great question. Yeah, yeah. So I did meet Flat Earth, and then I had to determine which one is most accurate. Because the horizon does appear to drop from eye level, so that would rule out the infinite plane, in my opinion. I haven't confirmed those results. It's just uh, initial uh, suspicion. And just to confirm, like on a biblical flat Earth, you would potentially have the horizon drop below eye level. So just put yourself on a round table. I don't know. I'm sure you can visualize a round table, and then just put yourself on that tabletop, and then rise in elevation. There would be a there would be a point where the horizon would appear to drop. But yeah, yeah, and then what particularly? I mean, I've gone through the servers here. I've tried looking for the most prepared debaters, the experts. I've been to MDD. I've gone over the angular size change with the mods there. I went to Globe Gangsters. And unfortunately, what I'm looking for isn't even available. Even after we spent $1 trillion in over 3 decades, we've got 3 countries going to the moon, but we have no uncut video from Earth to space showing the circle of the Earth. And the reason I feel that is the case is because in a biblical model, we have the firmament, so we couldn't necessarily go straight up. I think we would reach the firmament, which I believe is like hydrogen, but in a frozen state
Frozen
near
hydrogen.
absolute zero. Yeah.
It's interesting that of just how many topics get drawn into all of this. Like I started off, I found my way into just like having a modern day debates channel, just like on in the background.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Sorry. It's like
Did he
like
break? Did he? Oh, you broke up for a second.
Yeah, you know, I accidentally unplugged my headphone jack. It's like these things you end up hearing people debate about, like, right, okay, like perspective and angular size and the nature of photography and diffraction and faking computer images and yeah, looking for artifacts of forgery within computer images. But then there's also the whole discussion of physical models of the universe and people trying to recover ether theory, and then obviously these sort of overarching questions of what are the incentives of the agencies that would deceive, the global public to such an extreme extent. So it's a sort of fascinating cocktail of different kind of religious and scientific and technological topics and all this. And so I got a question. I'm sorry, my brain's kind of scattered sometimes. Okay, if the government came out tomorrow and was like, guess what? The Earth is flat. We've been lying the whole time. Would that make you feel more confident in your beliefs? Or would that actually make you like suspicious and be like, ooh, shit, if they're saying that,
Great
is that
question.
reason now to start doubting this?
I haven't heard that question yet before, but I just want to say, well stated before. You
Yeah,
raised some great points. Uh,
cool.
it would I guess confirm my initial suspicion, but I would definitely analyze whatever information they're sharing and then go
Yeah,
from there. But yeah, interesting question. Yeah, yeah.
get around. Well, because I often wonder in a lot of this, it's like uh, skepticism and I'd say sort of well-grounded distrust in institutions of authority can become its own kind of motivating factor of like, all right, well, anything that institutions of authority are saying, I'm going to put negative credence on now, because they are saying it and because I distrust their motivations. So that's what made me
Great
think to kind
point.
of flip it around there.
Great point.
It is on that point, it's stressful to navigate the world amidst these kind of massive, towering, institutions with very warped incentives. Um, it's like I sort of I wouldn't trust someone who had never taken any conspiracy theory seriously. It's like you gotta consider the possibilities here of what institutions with incentives to lie, would be interested in lying about. Though I don't get the angle on this one though. It's like I've heard people say like, oh, they're hiding resources over like the Antarctic ice wall, but wouldn't they want to go exploit those resources? Maybe that's not the particular take on it you have.
Oh yeah, wise words. You should be able to question uh, and learn about what are potential conspiracies taking place. Otherwise, that
Mm,
could
yeah,
be a danger that they become unaware to or of.
yeah.
But yeah, great point. You raised some interesting points that people use as reasons that the government would kind of control this information. Uh, there is also the spiritual aspect. So
Mm,
for some, like interestingly enough, I did converse with a young gentleman in university at MDD, and he said that he would believe in God if the Earth was flat. And there were people who were like, "No, no, are you serious?" And I asked him, like, "Are you just being flippant?" And he said, "No, I would 100% believe in God." So there is some people uh,
I
that
mean, I get that one. I mean, I would immediately be like, okay, like we're in some sort of like petri dish here that like had to be constructed by some form of intelligent design, whatever you'd call that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, great point. And so for the spiritual aspect of it, so this would be uh just so you know, there is a debate whether or not the ancient Hebrews did accept or
mm,
conceptualize a flat disk with a firmament. According to the former ancient the leading ancient Hebrew language expert did confirm it was a flat disk with firmament. He had a channel that illustrated, had animations, everything. He made a video. I actually shared that information on my channel as well. So we do have that on our side. So if this was a spiritual attack, it would have been an attack either from man or from Satan on creation itself. So he would Satan would want to use the earth uh, to undermine creation, because now it says, oh, where's God? Where's heaven? Is it millions, billions of light years away? And then now it's an attack on people's God-given senses. So I wrote, I'm nearly completed my book. If you ever visit my YouTube channel, the introduction is there.
Is there a link to it here?
Yeah, I'll put it in the link. The introduction is pretty much the gist of the book. It's regarding the ultimate protection, and then the book will just provide the evidence of such.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'll drop it in the side chat for you.
The religious aspect of this is the part I have the least kind of knowledge about. I mean, given that most religious people wouldn't claim to be flat earthers, like, is your feeling that this is an essential, like, pillar of faith, like that if you're missing it, you're missing something really? But I guess
Great
I'm trying to ask,
question.
like, how critical is this within the larger framework
Great
of
question.
faith?
I'm so glad you mentioned pillar, because I actually believe there are 4 pillars.
One of the 4. All right.
Yeah, the first one is creation, and we can see that in the first book. In Genesis, it talks about creation itself. So creation in all aspects, and then the second pillar is whenever you create something, you have rules, and then because the rules are for protection, right, and for fun, and then whenever you have rules, there's judgment. And we see that in the book when even King Solomon, he stopped following the rules, and the kings of the other ancient Hebrews, they stopped following the rules, and their land, they were kicked out of their land. And then whenever you have judgment, you can have mercy. And because the creator of this universe is merciful, he shows us that through Jesus. So back to your question, the pillar. So the person that brought me back to Jesus was a globe defender. So that shows that it's not really essential on salvation. The whole salvation issue is whether or not people are good enough or are good to go to heaven, because there are rules to enter, and Jesus told us all about that.
Mhm.
So yeah, the shape of the earth is not going to be a salvation issue for sure. The salvation issue for me and for the Christians is to be born again, and that was told by Jesus at John 3:3. We have to be born again. So that means changing from, like, for myself personally, I was a lying, thieving, blasphemous, adulterate heart, and I don't want to be that, and I hate that I was like that. So it's all about repentance. But yeah, thanks for your question. Great question, by the way.
Well, that answered how many, was this 1/3 of all the pillars or 1/10?
Yeah, and just like you can kick one leg out, uh, and the table will still stand, but they'll have to hold it up. For instance, so if a non-believer comes over and talks about evolution, now if the Christian also believes in evolution, which is not really biblical, they have to hold up the table because it's wobbling, and then the person might get annoyed and want to walk away. That's why I believe that people have to level their table, use the foundations, and then they can invite people over to the table, and they'll just stay and eat, and then have all the reasons to why they want to convert.
Does
And then learn about the blessing.
does the world need to be level for the table to be level?
The rules for sure. The rules. Yeah. But thanks for taking all your questions. Take me anytime if you want, and I'm gonna link my YouTube channel just if you want to read my introduction.
Yeah, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to start following the kind of nature of all the different topics that typically get weaved through here. Like the religious part of the least knowledge about, pretty interesting to me. Any of the kind of debates about the horizon and like the diffraction stuff and like photography technology, like I don't know anything about that. In my area of background is in physics and cosmology, and so the one thing that I could bring to talk about with some level of knowledge would be stuff like what's the cosmic microwave background? What are they talking about there? What is it that they've claimed to measure, and how did they go about trying to measure it? That type of stuff.
Amazing. I think that'll be a great tool for you to. Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So tell us about it, dude. What's good with the axis of evil?
Yeah. So when we look out, if you scan a telescope across the night sky, we see in the microwave spectrum light, radiation. It is light, but typically people say light for visible light to the human eye, and then, radiation for wavelengths that are outside what the human eye can see. So there is this microwave background, and it is in the background of everything else. Foreground objects, stars, galaxy, whatnot, are physically in front of the source of it, from our perspective, and have to be filtered out in order to see it. And it's very helpful just to look at images of it. It's kind of patchy, and you'll see kind of typically red and blue little splotches for sort of the hotter and colder spots within it, and that all looks very random to us all around us. But you can do some interesting analyses of it. Like, the first and simplest question you could ask is just what is the average temperature of the cosmic background radiation across our entire view of the night sky? And then what you can do is cut the night sky in half and ask the question of, well, what is the difference between the average temperature on one half of the sky versus the other half of the sky? And it's completely arbitrary where you cut the sky in half, so you could consider every way to dice up, the sky, but into two sections of sky to look at what's the difference, if we point the telescope to the left or if we point it to the right. And then the next thing to do is to split the sky up into quarters and eighths, and kind of look for at what level of taking divisions of the sky do you begin to see the greatest discrepancies between the average temperature, in one quadrant of the sky versus another. And then, of course, let's say you split the sky into quarters, you've got total rotational freedom of how you want to do up that splitting into quadrants. At what alignment do you see the greatest difference, in the temperature between all of these different quarters? So it's just, there's a sort of process of just kind of looking at the data and all of these different ways. So let me
ask you, because I'm aware of the cosmic microwave background. We talk about it a little bit in here.
Yeah.
So do you believe in the Big Bang?
I think it's probably good to clarify what actually is being claimed versus what is not being claimed in the Big Bang model, because I can't tell you how much I hate all of these animations of just there was blackness, and then from a little dot, kablam. Nobody knows any such thing occurred. Our knowledge is so much more limited. When I say our knowledge, I mean what is the current state of the models, the current state of the models are so much more limited than that. All they actually say is that at one point in the past, the entire volume of the universe was filled up with a really hot, dense plasma, and the universe has been expanding from there. So anything that's and before that, it was all concentrated at a point, that's not even in the models. That's just an extra step of speculation. The only actual thing that's being kind of rigorously explored mathematically, observationally, is just a model of, well, the whole universe, maybe out to infinity as far as we could see, was completely filled up with a hot, dense plasma. And then it has been expanding from there, and the density of matter has dropped. So there isn't even a concept of a central point that it's expanding out from. I don't know who was here the other night when I was chatting about this a little bit, but a much better analogy than something going pop is the way bread rises in the oven, where it starts as a thick batter, and then as it rises, you get increasing expansion of the gas bubbles in the bread, and that stretches the bread out to be poofier. But it's not coming out from any central place in the bread. It's every part of the bread is getting poofier all at once.
Wait, you're going a long way, man. I want to ask. Why do you think they say that it was started from a single point?
Well, there's a bit of a kind of sloppiness of how it's described, because what they are saying is that there was a point in time where the density would have been infinite.
No, it's more simple than that. It's really simple. They observed the expansion, put that in reverse. That's all it is.
But that putting the expansion in reverse does not extrapolate down to okay, yeah.
The pin of a needle.
So there's a slightly sort of tricky bit here, which is that okay, if you take all of the observable universe that we can see and you put all of the expansion in reverse, then that would collapse down to a point in space. But within the model, we think that the universe continues on beyond what we could see, potentially infinitely large. So sure, like the little bubble of space that we can presently see, if you put the expansion in reverse, would contract down to a single point. But if it's surrounded by endlessly more universe filled with matter, then the whole universe isn't contracting down to a single point. It's contracting down to something that is infinitely dense, but still infinitely large. So the expansion of the whole universe is, in the model, infinitely large and infinitely dense at the beginning,
and then expanding out. No, that's not what it says, though. That's not what the model says.
I think he's realizing how preposterous it is, so he's trying to do some damage control right now or something. I don't know.
Well, I'm just trying to clarify what the claims are.
It's all speculation, dude. To act like what you believe is not speculation is.
No, I mean it's literally it's speculation about what we can't see. I mean, a key part of this is speculation about what is beyond the farthest extent.
Well, hold on, because you're kind of going on. But the reason I would just wanted like a quick response, right? But it's all good. I get it. You're trying to be thorough. The reason I asked you, do you believe in the Big Bang? Because the following question was, well, would you, if you believe that the universe banged into existence from a single point, an infinitesimal point, infinite dense point, and then it started expanding. How do you assume or expect that expansion to occur? Do you think it was isotropic and uniform, homogeneous, like a grenade blowing up, or was it more like a claymore or something where because apparently it looks like it's like a disc shape, dude.
Well, a grenade blowing up would have a central explosive point that it's coming out from. And homogeneous and isotropic would mean it's the same everywhere across all of space.
Right. So if it exploded, if it exploded outwards from a single point in all directions uniformly, it would be a radial expansion, right? You would expect a isotropic expansion, a uniform expansion. Instead, you have a frisbee.
Who says we got a frisbee?
I'm being hyperbolic.
I don't know about this frisbee.
But it basically what you have is instead of a uniform expansion, you have like a disc, dude.
A disc where?
As in most of the matter hold on, dude. Most of the matter in the universe seems to be condensed in a disc shape, dude. It's not like a uniform isotropic homogeneous expansion. It seems to be concentrated, and it just happens to line up with the Earth's tilt. That's why they call it the axis of evil.
Oh, so that was
wait. Well, that was something else. I mean, there's a couple of things actually that there was a lot of things said, but talking about like the cosmic background radiation and talking about Earth being at the center of it, they go on beyond that to say that the thing is, no matter where you make your observation from, it will appear as though you're at the center. So it's not actually saying that Earth is at the center.
Listen. I didn't even bring that up yet. I was next. I was gonna bring that up next, but yes, you brought it up. But yes, the Milky Way galaxy generally seems to be at the center of our observable universe, and it's not because of the observer's point. They already ruled that out. It's not because our perspective, and we're looking at the limits of our perspective into the cosmic horizon. That's not what I'm talking about, dude. That's not why we happen to just randomly be near the center, relatively near the center. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the distribution of matter. It didn't expand outwards like a grenade expands and blows up in all directions. It didn't. That's not how it expanded. It expanded in a way where most of the matter is concentrated towards the center, and outwards in like a frisbee type way, like a disc type way.
So if you're talking about the axis of evil, that's not about the concentration of matter. That's about the temperature and the cosmic radiation. So what's going on with that is that, if you look at basically lines that you could draw in the sky where you could say, okay, the cosmic radiation looks a little hotter to the right side of the line and a little cooler to the left side of the line. There's a lot of ways of splitting up the sky into different quadrants to do that analysis, and some of those lines seem to align with the galaxy disk or the tilt of the solar system, whatever it was. There is some kind of axis, splitting up a cold half of our view of the sky of the cosmic radiation from a hot half of our view of the sky of the cosmic radiation that seems weirdly aligned with the galaxy. It was, I don't actually remember what it's aligned with, but aligned with something.
Yeah, bro, I'm gonna have to teach you your own model, dude, because you act like like I don't know what I'm talking about.
Matter,
bro. It is. It's not just about temperature. It's about matter, and it's about how the Earth's orientation with the observable universe and the concentration of that matter just happens to line up in a specific angle orientation. You want me to pull up the sources, dude?
Give me a second.
Dude. Give me a couple minutes. I'll pull it up.
I mean, the phrase "the axis of evil" is about the cosmic radiation, so you might be thinking of something.
That's what I'm talking about. The cosmic microwave background, bro.
Radiation.
But it's not just radiation, dude. It's also, bro. It's like, you guys come in here and we constantly have to like update you on your own model. It's ridiculous.
It's part of the CDM, so the cold dark matter.
It's not just temperature, dude. It's also matter, bro. Now you can call it dark matter. You can call it whatever you want, bro. But
yeah, I mean,
give me a second. I'll pull up the sources. Give me like a couple minutes.
Which, by the way, has been debunked. But
there are
guys. Lion is right. It's amazing you guys don't know your model.
No, there are
not just the temperature. Let me finish. It's the alignment of matter. It's in a disc shape, right? By your own.
There are theories.
I'm not saying. Let me finish, bro. Please let me finish. I'm not saying I believe it. The findings of your own scientists say that the way the matter is shaped, it's not evenly distributed. Like Lion was trying to tell you, it's not like a grenade exploded. There's a center point and it radiates out. That's not how the matter is distributed. It appears to be distributed like a pancake. Do you understand?
Well, it's definitely not a grenade to begin with.
Scientist findings.
Yeah, I mean, the grenade thing's totally not what the model is to begin with. That's why I was saying kind of bread rising is a much better analogy than a central explosion. And yes, it is the case that there is a speculative theory that the distribution of the temperature of the cosmic radiation should align with the distribution of dark matter. So I think that that's where the connection's coming in from.
No, nobody said anything about dark matter. I didn't say one word about dark matter.
Somebody brought that up, and that is where the connection to matter would come in. I mean, the cosmic microwave background radiation is about radiation, not matter. Now, it may correlate as well with the distribution of matter, or people think that it should correlate with the distribution of matter, but what the phrase "the axis of evil" is referring to is very specifically an axis within our view of the temperature of the radiation as we see it, in the night sky. Which, yes, people do think is supposedly to align with the concentration of dark matter in the universe. But then you got to even get into the question of whether or not dark matter is real. I mean, even within modern science, that's not a settled thing. That's like a controversial thing in the halls of academia still. I mean, most people are proponents of dark matter, to be clear, but there are plenty of people holding down professor positions at universities all over the world in the anti-dark matter camp. They haven't run them out yet.
Yeah, I think you addressed a lot of things there, but I don't know what to address first. Like, what is your basic point? Like, what are you saying? What is your basic point on this?
Well, someone just asked me to. I said that my kind of area of topics of knowledge was on like cosmology stuff, and someone asked like, okay, what's the deal with the axis of evil or the Big Bang before that? I don't know. We were going through a lot of different things.
Okay, but do you understand the difference between the distribution of matter, the way that you described it in I believe you used a rising bread example?
Yeah.
Okay, now do you understand the difference between that distribution of matter and what Line was trying to tell you and what I'm trying to tell you? The findings show that the distribution of matter is not like that. It's like a pancake. And the Earth seems to be in the middle with a tilt, but leave that out. Just the fact, that matter, the distribution of the matter, the way it's distributed. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say that before. What I do have heard about is the axis of evil, which is about the radiation temperature. And it is the case that there are dark matter theorists who claim that that should then correlate with the distribution of matter, assuming that that whole theory is even true to begin with there. So I think that's how we got onto that claim, that there would be some non-isotropic distribution of matter in the universe on that point.
Okay, so you see the issue there, right? Yeah, Left Lane posted a picture of that. So you see the issue, right? And now I don't know how familiar you are with the current cosmology. Are you familiar with the voids and the problems and the new theories of those?
Yeah. I mean,
you see
what about
Left
them?
Lane Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, and I got to take the dog out for a walk at some point, but I'm around on Discord. If I have to go at some point, I'll tune back in later.
Do you know J Ace?
J Ace? No.
Yeah, he does. He's got it.
He's always walking his dog.
Not even my dog. It's my mom's dog. I'm just dog sitting for the weekend. So I'm not always walking a dog. Ooh, you're cutting out there a little bit, at least on my end. Maybe it's my connection.
We got it. You built in your escape. We got it.
I'll be back later. But yeah, so there is this axis within the distribution of the radiation temperature that weirdly aligns with Earth.
Yeah, Left Flame posted it, dude. I mean, I just parked up, but
yeah, I don't know.
You can see that concentration towards the center.
Where am I looking for this?
Just either image, the one I posted or the one Left Flame posted.
Yeah, these pictures of
now you're saying that Left Lane saying that's because of our position.
What
that's not the case, Left Lane. It's not because of our position. It's not it. There seems to be something else going on. This is why this is bewildered scientists that actually don't even like talking about this.
Way.
They've suppressed this.
Yeah, wait, what are we talking about?
And act like it's an anomaly. They even say that there might be something going on with the measurement. It's faulty or something.
Are we? What? This isn't a picture of the cosmic radiation. What Left Lane just posted,
bro. Oh my goodness! It's like pulling teeth, bro. Can you see the concentration towards the center, or are you like that dull?
Are you talking about the Milky Way galaxy?
Bro,
no,
is that not the observable universe? Yes or no?
Yeah, hold on, dude. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, please.
Yeah, that's a map of the observable universe. That's a map of the matter distribution in the observable universe, not the cosmic radiation.
Yeah, that's just a picture of the universe. Theoretical picture.
Matter.
Regardless, I posted. This is the CMB right here, right? It's the observable universe. Yes or no?
The pictures here that show the Milky Way in the center line, and then all the dots of color around it is not the CMB. I can pull up a picture of the CMB.
I asked you, is it the observable universe? Yes or
Observable universe, yeah.
Okay, so why didn't you just answer? Okay, so in this image, does it look completely homogeneous and isotropic? Yes or no?
Yeah, basically. I mean, like,
it does.
Do you see like a greater concentration on the top than the bottom? I mean, it's all just like a mess.
Bro,
of
I'm
those
talking about
strands.
the center of it, bro.
The center is the Milky Way. The center is our galaxy. It's aligned to our galaxy.
I understand.
It's showing our galaxy in the foreground and everything else in the background.
There's a black hole.
I'm sorry, dude.
It's called Sagittarius.
But I just want like a yes or no. Like I don't need the rhetoric. You know what I mean? So is there okay? So yes, I know the Milky Way is at the center. We know that. I already brought that up, dude. Right? We all know that. But would you at least agree that it looks like it's not completely homogeneous? If you're gonna be intellectually honest, right? Now, for the most part, yes, around the outside, it looks homogeneous. I'll give you that. But towards the center, there seems to be an uneven distribution.
The disk of material in the center of the image is not like lots and lots of other matter in the universe. It's just our galaxy. This is an image of what it would look like if you're looking at the Milky Way galaxy edge on, and then seeing all the background matter of more distant matter behind it. So the only reason why there's that concentration right down the center line is because you got one galaxy right up in your face, edge on, and then you're seing the background.
All right, so I'm just gonna lay it out. I'm just gonna lay it out because you don't want to play along. So it's all good. So this evidence is weak evidence according to the scientists. They act like it's not
evidence of what? What are we talking about?
So hold on, it's not. It says here the uneven matter distribution could be a result of systematic errors in the data collection or processing. It says foreground contamination. It could have been because of signals from our galaxy affecting the CMB measurements. It says a statistical fluke within the data, or more exotic physics yet to be determined, right? Why it's not isotropic, why it's not homogeneous. Now, they say the majority of cosmologists remain cautious. While the axis of evil is an interesting anomaly, it has not been conclusively linked to a fundamental anisotropy in the matter distribution of the universe. So they're not willing to, this is like a fluke in the data. They don't want to accept it, right? But if you look it up, like if you
it's an open thing. So if you
but hold on, let me just finish this. But if you look it up, it says yes, the cosmic microwave background CMB does indeed show evidence of an uneven distribution of matter and energy. Not just energy, like I said, it's both matter and energy. Earlier you were like, no, it's just energy. No, matter and energy in the observable universe. So what did I say that was wrong?
Yeah, so there's an imprint on the CMB from the concentration of matter in the universe in the foreground. So you can read off from the CMB some data on the density of matter. So yeah, I'm sorry, that wasn't good. I mean, the radiation itself is radiation, not matter. But because of how it interacts with matter on its way to us, they claim, I don't know how all this analysis is always done, but that they can extract out of that data some info on the density distribution of matter in the universe, in the foreground that's affecting the CMB. But it just the image you posted here, where it's got the really bright line across the center, I just want to be clear that that's meant to be a single galaxy that's kind of like right in our face in the image. The image I posted down here, and someone posted a very similar one of the oval with the splotchy, red and blue spots. That's the CMB with everything else filtered out, in front of it, without the Milky Way in the foreground. So they are saying that there's a very slight observed kind of imbalance of it, whereas the theory would be that that the amount of hot and cold spots should be basically the same in the top half and the bottom half and the right half and the left half, and they're getting some slight imbalance there that also seems to weirdly align with the the disk of the Milky Way, right? But they're still
right. So okay, cool, bro. My only point here was to because originally you said it had nothing to do with matter; it was all about energy, and that was my point was to address that first, so that we can move on to the next. To the next thing, which was
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying the CMB was matter. I mean, it's radiation. It gets affected by matter, like that it passes by. That was the point of
I know, but this is what you guys always do this, where it's like you guys have like a tactic where we get lost in obscurities, and then you like talk for so long that people don't even know where we're at anymore.
Well, there's not really a you. Well, what's the you guys? Isn't it just him?
No, because earlier when I was talking to Jesse, the Path of Light, he was doing the same exact thing. So this was all day long. This has been the thing with these Globers. Like I can't get direct answers. There's always some rhetoric.
You don't know what my position is.
I know, but
he said he leans toward concave. I thought
leaning towards concave.
But hold on. So my next point here was that for whatever reason, that disk happens to line up with the Earth's tilt, 23.4 degrees.
Yeah.
That. Oh, so you do agree with that, right?
But yeah, that's what the axis of evil is. That's the that you draw a line across the sky on the CMB, and it looks a little hotter on one side of that line than the other side, and then that line seems to align with the orbit of the Earth, something that it has no reason to align with.
The tilt, dude.
Yeah, the tilt of the what?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, 5 minutes. Did you just look it up or something? Because 5 minutes ago you weren't saying that. Now that's what we were trying to tell you, dude. And you also said that
I was just saying
matter, and now you're agreeing that it has to do with matter. So this you guys do this constantly, bro.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that all the matter
disingenuous, bro. It's not good faith.
Flattened into a pancake. But anyway, yeah, it's
Wait, what about a pancake?
It's a mystery. It's a thing that I don't, people are studying this.
Yeah, I don't see that he's trying to deceive or convince or sway. He's just talking. I don't see that he's being disingenuous at all.
That's fine, dude. But
I don't think
he ain't fooling me, dude.
I don't think he said he was trying to be disingenuous. He said that he likes to prolong the conversations and kind of monologue into something else, which obscures the actual topic.
No, originally he literally said that it had nothing to do with the matter. That the matter
I shouldn't have said it has nothing to do with matter. Matter does interact with the CMB, to be clear. I just wanted to get out there that the CMB is made of radiation. It's not made of matter. And there's a whole bunch of complicated reasons that it could interact with matter in some mutual way that correlates concentrations of the CMB with concentrations of matter. And the only thing I was trying to say there was that it's light. It's not, matter material. It's not made of atoms.
So that whole lopsided thing that was posted, that's actually it's just another projection of the celestial sphere, basically. So if you look at the image I posted, that whole lopsided thing, another way to look at that is this.
Hey, Danny, did you want to get in, brother?
So you see this right here?
Someone's put with the line.
Side is actually a band around the celestial sphere, like that, and the way that we see the celestial sphere is tilted like this, like this one. So that image of that lopsided thing is the celestial sphere flattened out. There's different projections for it. But once you start kind of figuring out what the bright regions are and things like that, things will start to make more sense.
Yeah, so the CMB on one side of the line, then the other side of the line, and that line seems to weirdly, line up with the Earth.
Yeah, bro. I'm glad that you conceded that. That's all, bro. I was just trying to get you to concede that. It's all good. But I was gonna say, SC, are you gonna bring up your baby galaxies, dude? This is a perfect time, dude.
Which one, bro?
The baby galaxies or the mature galaxies. This
yeah, I
five
was going to
sigma.
bring up voids, but yeah, that.
The overly massive galaxies that they spotted way too far away, where they didn't think they'd find them. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
No. Look, there's real problems in the modern cosmology. I mean, it's fucking contentious.
What about the double Big Bang? I mean, that's a problem.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one as well. Yeah, the double Big Bang. Yeah.
And Zippy, this ZZ, that's not even mentioning all the things that people have caught, such as National Geographic and PBS. Their flat Earth exposés were found to be either deceptive outright and or using just optical illusions. We can. Have you seen either one of those? The National Geographic or the PBS?
How do we go from talking about cosmology to fucking National Geographic?
Yeah. That's just another side topic for you to explore one day, ZZ.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe they came up with these ideas like Big Bang and evolution from like watching how life begins, right? You have a bang, and then your child starts off as like this small tiny thing, turns into a bigger thing, and then comes out of the womb. Like maybe that's where they came up with all this stuff, because it doesn't even really comport when you try to apply all your physics and science to it.
Well, that comes out of, when they look into the sky, more powerful telescopes, they see more stuff. So the theory is that they can see further back. So they just to them, it's like a movie, right? So it just plays back, into a dot. Seriously, that's how they do it, like a reverse explosion, right? That's the theory, basically.
There's I'm reading here from physics.org about how it's not uniform. They actually have a probe, allegedly. It says here the microwave anisotropy probe, WMAP. Anisotropy, as in the opposite of isotropic.
WMAPs.
I'm guessing some people don't believe the probes are even real here, but I posted something that might help with sort of what I was talking about here of the sort of the way the analysis is carried out on the celestial sphere is at the first level of it, you just take the average temperature of the CMB over the whole sky, and then at the second level of it, you draw a line down the middle of the sky and take the average temperature of the CMB on one side of the line and the other side of the line and look at the difference between the two of them. And then you can split the sky up into quarters and then eighths. And you're looking for, a kind of what scale of how many subdivisions of the sky are you going to see the greatest level of temperature discrepancy on either side of the lines of division. So when they're talking about the axis of evil, they're talking about it's one of these axes here. It's one of the choices for how to do a split of the sky and then a comparison of the temperature on either side of the line.
Yeah, I posted a thing on it. We are aware of this. We've talked about it many times. But this is like old stuff, right? Like we mentioned about the James Webb, and now are you familiar with the new one, the voids? I've heard of the voids. Have you heard of the timescape theory?
Yeah, that was look, and the timescape one's a big thing there because it's like you got a group of people now who are saying no dark energy. A lot of people have put their careers on dark energy, and now you've got other people saying nope, we did the calculation with more complicated details in it, and we're finding there's no evidence of dark energy. So it's a bloodbath in the field of cosmology.
So you do know your stuff. I'm
all these competing, theories.
What is the larger point here?
About what? I was talking about the CMB.
Whatever you're saying. Yeah.
Well, I think the larger point here is that like a lot of the discussion on this is like polluted with various people who have made a name for themselves going like hardcore in on something that's just like not confirmed. And I know that there's plenty of people in this channel here who have issues with, the developments in science over like the last 100 years. But like even within mainstream science, it's like string theory, no evidence, dark matter, no evidence.
It's interesting. I'm reading physics.org and they're like certain that this is a statistical fluke. But it's like it says here we only have the CMB sky to observe. Therefore, if the observed asymmetry is a statistical fluke, we are stuck with it because there's no way to increase the statistics on this particular measurement. But if the asymmetry is real and not just a statistical fluke, then it is extremely important. It may well be a remnant of the pre-inflationary universe.
Okay, yeah. Inflation theory, no evidence yet. It's like everyone's fucking hawking something, that is like their thing that they wrote their book on and made their career on. Circular firing squad of all these different theories.
Fan fiction.
That would be Guth that came up with that, the expansionary.
Hey, SE, can you unmute Wish? But ZZPop, are you a glober or flat earther?
Concaver. No, I am not a flat earther here.
Okay. So you're on the globe side.
I guess so. Until something better comes along,
You sound like you know. Are you in the field? Are you into
in cosmology? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was chatting about the background radiation. Yeah, I mean the other thing is like we have a sample size of 1. We only have a single sky to look at, above our heads. So people will make arguments about like this is anomalous, and it's like, what do you mean it's anomalous? It's anomalous compared to what? We've got nothing else to compare it to, and by which they mean it's anomalous compared to the predictions they got out of their math. But it's like, your theory may not be confirmed to begin with by any.
I'm
standards.
glad that you. I'm glad
exactly,
that you
bro.
That's the point.
Exactly, what he just said is important, right? Because the theory is based on predictions, right? And the predictions and what they find just don't coincide.
Well, and you can't do experiments on the cosmos.
Yo, is this that Z? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Are you ZZPop?
Yeah.
But take it easy on this guy, guys, please.
Well, I might be back later. I gotta get going in a moment. But
I'm a little rough, but sorry about that, man.
I mean, my last point is people aren't wrong in being suspicious of the house of cards that modern cosmology is built on, because at like a fundamental level, you can't do experiments. It's all the way out there. What are you going to do about it? We can't run experiments on testing theories on what galaxies do. We're looking at a sky and we have one sample, which is what we see right now. We have no alternatives to compare it to. So it's, it creates a lot of career opportunities for people to write a lot of books and make a lot of claims about what they think is going on. And then how something that they see in the sky that does not align with what they think is just evidence of this new theory that's coming out.
Well, hey, you know how you brought up the bread rising?
Yeah, that's a much better analogy.
Most people talk about the balloon expanding, right? You're talking about bread rising.
Well, I think
where balloons, they expand kind of uniformly in all directions, right?
Well, the issue
bread doesn't expand like that, dude.
I mean, okay, if you've got bread in a tray, it expands up, I guess.
That's the way I'm looking at bread in a tray or in a container.
I was more thinking from the perspective of like a microbe in the bread who has absolutely no sense of there being even a tray, is just like seeing bread all around it, poofing, stretching, with like no context of what is beyond what it immediately sees.
Yeah, the boiled microbe.
Well, I think we were saying the extremophile microbe that could survive that.
Hey, can a moderator mute Wish? SE or Lion or someone? But
is he in here?
Oh, ZZ.
Yeah.
Why is he muted?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Been muted for a
Interestingly
while.
enough, the analysis of the cosmic background radiation has been replicated, right? If I'm not mistaken, with more and more precision.
I mean, we've collected data of it. People built bigger and bigger telescopes to take in the light of the CMB and then try to run a whole bunch of various codes to try to extract information out of the noise of it. I mean, because if you look at a raw picture of it, it just looks like static. So then it's like, how do you try to extract some meaningful signal out of that? And then make a claim that your theory better predicts that signal over somebody else's theory with nothing else to compare it against.
Yeah, but what he asked, and he's right, is that they did it more than once. Because I remember when I was researching this, and I heard one of the scientists say, man, the first time they did it, okay, we were all against it. And then we had to apologize when they did it second time.
Yeah.
And got similar results. I forgot who. He's a very known scientist. His name is going to come to me, but he was involved in that.
Yes.
So yeah, they did it more than once.
Yeah, I just meant that, like, it's when they say doing it more than once, they're collecting the same data just again and again at higher resolution to get more detail on it. And what I mean by we have a sample size of 1 is that, like, we can't reset the universe and let it play forward again and see if the CMB comes out looking the same way as we see it today. So that's what I meant by, like, we have a sample size of 1. Like, we know what it looks like now, and we can't turn back time to see if it always would have turned out looking this way. So that's why it's kind of funny when people are like, there's an anomaly in it or something, because it's like you don't have anything else to compare this to. Like, an anomaly would suggest that you know what it was supposed to look like in like 1,000 different universes, and you can be like, that's a weird feature in this one, but we don't have any other universes to look at other than this one.
So
understood,
Yeah.
and point well taken. Like when they say, the galaxies weren't turning a certain way, therefore the theory of gravity.
Well, yeah. Well, that gets that. Yeah. Oh,
Like,
yeah.
how do you know? Right.
That's right back to the dark matter stuff again, because it's galaxies look like they're spinning way too fast. Can't be explained under the current theory of gravity. So then they throw in dark matter as a patch, to be like, but if you pump up the galaxies full of dark matter, you can explain them spinning as fast as we see.
Yeah, but hold on, bro. Hold on.
To hear that from him, dude.
What?
He just concede, dude. That's what we've been trying to tell the Globers for the last
I know,
couple of years.
I know.
Dude.
That's why I like this person. Yeah, exactly. He knows what he's talking about.
Well, this is why it can be really fucking cringe when I listen to things, and I listen to the Globers take a hard. The problem is, like, there's a lot of claims being made in physics and cosmology, and they're at very different levels of, like, standards of evidence and confirmation. So, like, okay, there's some things that there's a lot of evidence and the knowledge within the community is pretty locked in. And then there's other things that are still really speculative and they may be popular within the community, but the evidence is not that strong for them. But people will, like, talk about it all in the same breath. And no, look, the Glober debaters are cringe-worthily completely undermining themselves in saying that, like, evidence for dark matter is the same quality as evidence for the shape of the Earth. They're
last thing, dude.
Last
thing. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna mute after this. Yeah. I promise. I just want to say before I leave, I take back what I said about you earlier. I thought you were acting in bad faith. Maybe we're just misunderstanding each other. But the fact that you just, as a Glober, said that dark matter and dark energy was a patch. That's what we've been trying to get the Globers to concede for so long, and for you to just say that, dude, that means a lot, and it shows that you are, speaking in good faith. That's all. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, no, I mean, like, it doesn't mean I'm unwinding all the way back to everything, but yeah, no, I mean, they're making a terrible mistake in just kind of jumping on the bandwagon of things that are not nailed down, by.
Why do you think they're fibbing? Why do you think they're fibbing so much?
That's really so on the dark matter thing specifically. That's a really interesting topic. So basically, I see it as a toxic career feedback loop between two different camps, the astronomers and the particle physicists, because see one of the major things the astronomers can cite in justifying the grants for telescopes specifically to do projects of trying to look for evidence of dark matter out there is that the particle physicists claim to be very confident that dark matter should exist. And then the thing that the particle physicists can say to justify their search for like a detection of a dark matter particle is like, oh, well, the astronomers are pretty confident that it exists. So like if you're like a small cog in a much larger machine and you're working on like your little project and you can plausibly claim that a disconnected subfield, like, hey, the people over in the other department are pretty confident about this, like that's good enough for a grant funding proposal. You can pin a whole career on that of like.
So it's for funding.
Yeah, I mean the funding and the career fight is brutal. It's absolutely brutal, and most people will do the thing that's most likely to be funded, and the things that are most likely to be funded are the things that are already being funded. I mean, it's
well, if you're saying it's a loop, right?
Yeah, it's a careerist kind of loop thing. It's hard to exit out of it.
If
a recursive
it's a loop,
then a recursive loop.
There had to be a starting point.
Yeah, well, the starting point in dark matter was that Einstein's theory of gravity failed at the level of galaxies. Now, I should say it does accurately model the shape of the orbits of the planets that we see in the local solar system, whatever you think those are, the luminaries, and whatnot, but tracking, the motion of Mercury fit with Einstein's calculations, but the spin of galaxies don't fit with Einstein's calculations. So that's where dark matter came in as a patch, because they were like, oh, we can explain away galaxies spinning 5-6 times faster than they're supposed to if you pump up a galaxy full of this invisible dark matter. At one point in time, a critical number of people thought that was at least plausible. And at this point, I would say it's a kind of careerist feedback loop that stifles as much criticism as there should be against it.
Speaking of patches, are you familiar with the Michelson-Morley thing?
Yes.
And would you say the Lorentz contraction was a patch?
Was the Lorentz contraction a patch? A patch to fix the Michelson-Morley experiment?
Yeah, because they didn't measure the orbit.
They
didn't measure the orbit, so they just said it was the Lorentz contraction.
I see what you mean and what you're trying to say there. I think I don't have time right now to talk about Michelson-Morley.
Yeah, no
so
doubt.
That's what I'm here for. Right. Listen, I might be able to tune back in later tonight.
Man, dude, I thought it was about to get good.
All right, well, let me
come back, I told you go easy on this guy. This guy gets like a Kosho pass or something.
He's an asset.
Yeah, a sleeper cell,
Kidding.
No, at least you know the cosmology and you admit the ramifications and you acknowledge the problem. So, I mean, that's a breath of fresh air as far as I'm concerned. So,
cool. Yeah, glad to hear it. I mean, look, there are a minority of serious researchers who are more against the mainstream on this. It's a minority, but they exist. But it's hostile within the halls of academia between these different camps of speculative theories that people go really in on. So as a Glober, as someone within mainstream science, I have an incredible amount of negativity and skepticism towards the current models of dark matter, dark energy, inflation, string theory, like a lot of these things that kind of snowballed and got a lot of people a lot of book deals for a while. I'll say that. But have some pretty systematic issues with them. All right, maybe we'll chat Michelson-Morley some other time, though. I'll try to tune back in later tonight or some other night coming up when I can. A lot of fun.
All right, bro. Thank you
guys.
for coming.
Yeah, thanks very much. Peace.
Now that was great. Now that was good. Somebody that knows, he's in the field, he knows what he's talking about, and it's like, yeah.
What field was he in? He was in cosmology, did he say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's his field, cosmology. Yeah. And it shows. He's the only guy I've spoken to that knows what the timescape theory. And BAP, he didn't research it. He was like, BAP, on the spot. So I knew right away he knows his stuff. So we should be having some very interesting combos with him. So yeah, that's cool.
No, I had a good talk with that guy last night a little bit. We were kicking it around a little bit. It was pretty good. He seemed like I just had a good feeling. I was like, oh, he conceded to a bunch of things right away. Like I was just getting a good vibe off him.
Yeah, and finally somebody that knows the cosmological model, right? And the current one too. So people could hear from a baller, really, what these theories are, because they sound too fantastical. Like when I say them, I feel like people think I'm making stuff up or something, you know?
Well, you're just talking about something that already was made up to begin with. So
Yeah, for sure. Big time made up. Big time. But this is stuff made up by the top bigwigs, right? The top scientists, the top cosmologists, the PhD dudes, the guys that write the papers. Like this recent one, Timescape, has to do with the voids. This is new stuff. This just came out. So what they're saying in this one is that the stuff that we were talking about before, the uneven distribution of matter, which you can clearly see in the CMB, all the dark spots, that's that new timescape theory. It has to do with those voids. And they claim that those voids affect time. Time slows down in the void. It slows down or goes faster? I forget which one. I think slows down. Yeah, that's the void theory. And it also eliminates dark matter. So it's like, yeah, they just come up with stuff like on a monthly basis now, because they're trying to come up with the discrepancies of what they're finding out in the early universe and what their predictions are. So they're scrambling right now.
Yeah, I see. Have you seen the descentfromdarwin.org petition?
No.
Okay, so